Hey, what's up everybody? Tom here again, and I've gotten a few requests to give a build overview and describe how the wheels work on my spike-wheeled mountain climbing jet-powered Rover. So I've loaded that up here in the spaceplane hangar. Um, this is a while since I posted the original video, so there are a few changes that I'll go over, but everybody was interested in how I designed the wheels and how they work. So the key part here is the Airstream protective shell, which is an unconventional use of the part, but it has a high impact tolerance, even though if we look at it, 9.0 meters per second impact tolerance, but in fact I think it's actually something like 40 meters per second impact, so maybe there's a bug here. I hope they don't fix it because that would make my Rover not work anymore, but that was the key discovery, that these are actually can tolerate a higher impact than expected, or at least than I would expect based on the part description. So we have those functioning as the tips of the wheel, and they're connected to a long I-beam that's connected to an octagonal strut, and then you have this assembly that is all connected to the structural fuselage here. So there's a radial decoupler that detaches the whole thing, separatrons that blast it away from the craft, and another decoupler there that detaches the wheel, but it's all housed within the structural fuselage and kept in there with a Rockomax adapter on the back end, or the inside end and outside end. Likewise within the wheel, to keep it centered relatively, there are 8 octagonal struts attached radially around it on each end. So you got both of those. So the way this works, I've got one stage that detaches everything. The wheel attachment assembly blows away, and you're left with your spike wheels attached in the structural fuselage, kept on with these adapter end caps, basically. Then the rest of the craft is more like a space plane. If I turn on the center of mass thrust lift, you can see we've got the Goliath turbofans. In this version I have 4 of them, in the original I have 2. We'll see how fast this goes, so we'll take it out for a spin. The other key here is the left and right turning. So these are turbofans attached separately. Let me actually move those into the main. I want a single engine group for all of the turbofan engines, but these are controlled separately in action groups. So I have action group 1 for the left turbofan toggling thrust reverser, and action group 3 similarly for the right turbofan thrust reverser. So that should allow me to turn left and right if I press 1 and 3. And then I have another action group 2 that toggles thrust reverse on the Goliath main engines if I want to go backwards or hit the brakes, basically. So those are the action groups. Those are the engines and steering configuration. I have some lights under here somewhere that are on, but whatever. The other thing is that this is pretty balanced around the center of mass of the craft, so most of the weight here. I've got the fuel distributed evenly along the length of the Rover, and engines balanced on the center of mass, and yeah, I got some wings to give it some lift, and that turns out that it can actually slowly descend. It can't actually fly from what I've seen so far. Maybe with these 4 Goliaths it actually could, so we'll see what we can do there. Also has some control surfaces on the front for a roll, and on the back for a roll, and pitch there. And one vertical canard for yaw control. And I've experimented with bigger surfaces, but you want something small here, otherwise you can't turn left and right effectively. So that's the build. All in all, there are 274 parts, 62 tons, and 26 meters long, 19 meters wide, but that's maybe with these attachments. So let's try it out. Cool. So here we are. I do have some ground effect lighting on there, but I actually want to take this to the daytime, so I'm going to speed up time, give us a better view. So let's blow this, the wheel assembly. So that's the first stage. Which is always pretty fun. It's kind of excessive, so there's probably a more a cleaner way of doing that without exploding every time, but it's a pretty sweet way to start your runs every time. Then next stage is just turning on all the engines. And like I said, I've got 4 turbofans on this one. I'll hit 1 to turn left. I'm already going too fast, so lower the thrust. Give it a little bit more. Let's see, we're wiggling left. Let's go a little more left. So I have 4 because with 2 mounted on the center, after the 1.3 update, I could not get forward thrust because of some kind of different aerodynamic change. But so I added these, moved them up, which meant I wanted to add some on the bottom just to keep the center of mass directly in the middle of the rover. So now, I don't know how fast this thing can go, but we'll take it over a jump. And this is actually being controlled pretty nicely now. So now I'm just using that tail fin, stabilization is off. I'm going to hit 1, so I go a little more left. Hopefully, a little more left, a little more left. There we go. So I'm at about half, or 2/3 max thrust. Go a little to the right. I'm gonna hit a jump here, get some air. Whoa! And we lost a wheel. Whoops. So that might be because of the 4 Goliaths. There's extra weight and it can't handle the impact. Let's give it one more shot. And let's blow the wheels off. And this time I'll try to do a reverse launch. So we're going backwards, full thrust. Actually gonna go not full thrust. Flip direction. Forward. Pretty cool. That worked. Okay, and now we are moving. Let's see how fast it can go, full thrust. $90.79. I'm drifting left. Take it a little right. So I think the key will be, now that I have the extra engine weight, use the stability. Oh, I lost the... Did I lose the wheels again? I'm losing bits of the wheels. So it's working. I'm gonna slow down. This is gonna be a disaster pretty fast. Let's go up there. Let's see if it can fly, because I've lost a bunch of wheel parts. Hit the... So now I've got stability control enabled. Oh! Yep, alright, so hard to drive in the dark. But that's it. And I guess I'll close out with how I came up with that idea for the Airstream protective shells as the wheels. I was building an experimental aircraft, and I found that the protective shell, when I crash landed, it actually bounced off the ground, and I was going pretty fast. So I thought, huh, maybe that could actually be the tip of a wheel. Like, and then I came up with this spike-wheeled Rover concept, which is pretty insane. Anyway.